Good afternoon, W2 Capitalist, Darren Hay. Hey, Jay posted a question earlier today on what do you need to improve on your close ratio to become a believer in frames. So I've got a real life example of how I had clients who were from the analytic frame, would always try to renegotiate with me, and they would assert their dominance over me. And one day, I put a stop to it, kind of backed into it, kind of happened into it. So, once upon a time, I was a mortgage loan officer with Wells Fargo Home Mortgage of Bellevue, Washington. And I did loans for people that honestly didn't need them. And it was great. It really was. Primarily, my clients were non-resident aliens here on an H-1B visa, and they were working at one of the major tech firms in Redmond, Washington. So, people would call and they would need a mortgage loan, and the mortgage loan was generally something that had to close. They were buying a house, had to close in 7 to 10 days. This was back in the go-go days of the early aughts, and the Washington Mutual back at the time was taking 30 to 60 days to close a purchase money mortgage. Countrywide was taking 3 or 4 weeks, and here we were routinely taking them start to finish 7 days. My personal best was 5. The branch's best that I worked at was 3, and it was amazing. So people knew that when you got done screwing around every place else, call Wells Fargo. They'll do it right, and they'll do it fast. Well, one day, I had had a rough day, man. My wife had tuned me up before I left and went to work. Kids have been obnoxious. Traffic sucked. I don't know, man. It was that time of month or something. It was bad. Get in there. First time I get there, the very first thing in the morning, I see the Microsoft number pop up on my caller ID. It's like, oh great, now who's calling me? I had this one client calls up every day. He would call me 2 to 3 times a day. I found a low interest rate on the internet, and I'd like the interest rate that you got, but I would like to see if you would match the interest rate that I found on the internet, please. And that's about the way they sound. And it was just one of those things. And that day, I'd had a belly full, and I was just like, nah, screw you, bud. I am not renegotiating your interest rate. He's like, well, your interest rate was 6%. And that was going right then. And I found the interest rate fall 4.75%. That is a great interest rate. I said, that's right. Now, do you think they're going to close this loan in 3 days? Well, I talked to the guy, and he said they could. I'm like, all right, go for it, ma'am. I'll tell you what, I feel bad because now I'm charging you, this is usury. 6%, man, this is usury. So I feel bad about this. So I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to hook you up. I'm going to cancel your loan. That way you can go over there. Once the loan's canceled, you can use our appraisal, go across the street, and, good luck. Oh, hey, and remember, your earnest money's hard, and it's 10 grand because that's just the way the market was back then. Back then, during the go-go days in Western Washington, houses were selling for 50 grand over list price. Buyers had to waive financing very early, and earnest money was hard. And that's what it was. That's the way the market was. So he said, oh, no, don't cancel my interest. No, don't cancel my loan. Don't cancel my loan. And that's what he said. I was like, nah, man, I feel bad. I want to take care of my clients. I feel like a horse's ass. I'm charging you so much interest. And so I hung up on the guy, while he's protesting the whole time. And I have, just to underscore it, a few moments later, I typed out the loan denial. We had a forms library that had a credit denial in there. And so I filled it out. Didn't actually cancel his loan, but I filled out the credit denial and I sent it to him. And when I did, about an hour later, my boss comes into my office. He's got this kind of goofy smirk on his face. He's like, so-and-so just called me and said that you canceled your loan and they're closing Friday. They're buying a house and they got the movers all lined up. And I looked at him and said, Bob, I'm just tired of his stuff. I can't really repeat everything I said after that. And Bob's like, well, I can't really find a reason why you would deny it. It's like, I'm sick of the guy. Just tell him to go pound sand. And Bob just kind of chuckled. I was like, all right. So Bob comes back like an hour later and says, I talked to the guy. Told him you really weren't interested in renegotiating the interest rate. Said, so why don't you call him? It's like, nah, we'll ice him a day or two. Let him think about that 10 grand earnest money. So I mean, by that point, I'm just being a prick. So, anyway, I did not cancel his loan, called him the next day, and he was so relieved. And he apologized and said, no, I'm happy with the interest rate. I just want to close Friday. I said, all right, if you want to close Friday, I just want you to shut up. I'm tired of talking about this interest rate. I'm not giving any more of my commission. That's it. None. I'm done. Zero. Silch. Don't say a freaking word. And he didn't. He said, okay. That was it. Never heard from the guy again. He goes and closes. And when he closes, about a week after he closes, he calls me to go to lunch. He wants to have lunch with me. I said, no, I'm tired of you, man. And he hung up on him. He calls me a week later. He says, he wants to have some lunch with me. I said, no, I don't want to have lunch with you. A week later, the guy shows up in my office. Shows up in person. I've never met the fella. And he shows up, and we sit and talk for a little bit. Got it all worked out. Had a great relationship after that. And he turned into a great referral source for new people who just come over and just had their new offer letter from Microsoft and or one of the temp companies that brings them over. And it was amazing. And it was funny that he always told the people, do not negotiate the interest rate with them. No, he told you no. And he told you you're going to cancel. He's going to cancel. No, don't negotiate. And that was it. And they would always call, and that was the first thing they'd tell me. It's like, hey, so-and-so said not to negotiate the interest rate. I said, no. You get what you get. You got what you got. That's it. You sign the paperwork. We're done. And that was it. So, about a month later, I iterated this, and I started telling people, it's like, hey, look, we're a bank. We're Wells Fargo. I don't want to do any business with anybody who doesn't want to have a relationship of $500,000 with Wells Fargo. The reason for that is that I got bonuses in my check, and then also in our other comp package. I got another comp in order for people who had a deeper relationship with Wells Fargo, and they call it the relationship banking. And the biggest bonus was for $500,000. And I just tell people, it's like, hey, look, I'm doing your loan for $200,000. You need to bring $300,000 over to the bank, and I'll do your loan for you. And I was shocked. The number of people who call me back and say, oh, I talked to so-and-so, and, we're going to bring some money over to the bank. We're going to put $100,000 in the savings account, and then we want an investment account, and then we're going to do our cars and then our credit cards. And that was it. And then, bam, we had a $300,000, $400,000 relationship with the bank. Then you throw in there the $200,000 mortgage. They hit the $500,000 mark. I hit the big bonus, and, man, it was amazing. So, I said a lot to say this. The theory in Pitch Anything is amazing. When you actually put it into practice, it will feel uncomfortable. You have to be a bit of a prick about it, and you just have to stick to your guns. And if you do, you will almost always successfully reframe the conversation. Now you are back in control. Now you are the one who's going to get the close. Hit me up if you have any questions. Thanks for watching.